All right, guys, we're going to move into the next presentation. And this is going to be 2 introductions for this next person. That's how amazing he is. So I'm doing an introduction before the introduction. So the next individual is Alan Steinfeld. And Alan, I followed him. When did you start New Realities?
20 years ago?
Yeah, so when I first started waking up, which 19 years ago, so a year after he started, I guess, I started stumbling across videos from Alan Steinfeld, interviewing everybody and anybody under the sun that really was contributing to this awareness, right? So it was very interesting that the beginning of my awakening really Alan was instrumental in, because I was watching interviews where he was really delving deep with a lot of people. And then 10 years later, I'm fully producing events, and then we run into each other, and now we're creating events together. And for the last 4 or 5 years now, Alan has been a part of our online conferences. He's emceed many of our events. He's one of our biggest champions and really supports our work. And he's going to be at every single conference that we do, because he is instrumental. He's instrumental in my life. He's a good friend. I communicate with him when I have issues and trying to figure out what's going on in the world. And now he's here to lend his energy to this event. So I'm extremely happy. And this is going to be the first round of applause for him.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. What a nice guy.
And now we're going to bring up Phil Gruber, who I have found out yesterday actually was a mentor to Alan, and they've known each other for decades, so he's going to take us a little deeper with Alan. So let's give it up for Phil as well.
Here we go. Best man at my wedding. Alan is a bon vivant, a true original, a compendium of curious qualities, the style of which has neither precedent nor parallel. He's an alchemist in the truest sense of the word. Author, lecturer, researcher, host and interviewer, host and MC, and interviewer par excellence. Here we go. Alan does everything with aplomb. He's very good with fruit. Okay, thank you. Okay, New Realities, Alan's flagship media outlet, internationally syndicated cable show, he's introduced or reintroduced the world to many of the world's greatest minds, hearts, and experiencers. The work he's done alone with doctors JJ and Desiree Hurtak is absolutely staggering, absolutely staggering. It's said that Howard Stern was at one time the king of all media. I'd like to introduce to you my best friend in the whole wide world, the true king of all and new media and new realities, Mr. Alan Steinfeld. Thank you.
I don't know how I could actually live up to that introduction. I never will, he says. Okay, then I don't need to say anything. But thank you all for being here. And what I feel about this conference, it's really at the forefront of new understanding, new ideologies. We have to do something different on planet Earth. I mean, we are in a lot of trouble. We're in a lot of transitions. We need to know how to think differently. We need to know how to tap into what I call my program, New Realities. And what that means is what I say here, making known the unknown. Now, nobody really knows what that means because we don't know what the unknown is. We only know the known. So if you're afraid of aliens, it's just because you project what you think you know onto the unknown. The unknown is mysterious and wonderful and full of surprises. So what you think the next day may be is only a repeat of this day because you're projecting what you know onto reality. When we make known the unknown, each moment is different and alive and full of vital energies. There's vital energies going through your body right now. That's why you're incarnate as opposed to disincarnate. So the incarnate energies, the vitalism that's pulsing through your body is part of the cosmic factor of the universe. That's what we are. We are the life force of the universe flowing through this body. This is what's so magical about us and our times. That's why when Shariah says you create your own reality, you create it because you're in that body. And you know why you're in that body? To have fun, to enjoy, to make known the unknown, to do something different, to do something that's never been done before, to break out of the mold of what we've called human existence. That has kept us trapped. Human society, human culture has kept us in a box, and we are here to break out of that box at this time. And how do we do that? By venturing into the unknown. Like this guy, I love this picture. I know people have seen this a lot. When you stick your head through one level of reality, we emerge into something new. But, you know, in the 60s, they did LSD and all that to kind of shake them out of the cultural paradigm. We don't need that now. We need to go inward. In your meditations, in your deep meditations, when you get to a place, and we'll do an exercise later, there's a place where you snap out of the normal monkey mind and the news starts flowing into you. And if you can be lucid in that state where you see the new realities come into your mind and be the observer of that reality, that's where creativity, that's where invention, that's where discovery lies. Inside your mind, inside this incredible receiver of thought. This is this thing on top of your shoulders there, that instrument is the most sophisticated mechanism in the universe. It's multidimensional. It can tap into other levels of reality. It's a sender and receiver of thought. It's not necessarily a thinker. It does think, but it receives the thought from the cosmos and it can send it to other places. And maybe we'll do an experiment like that too. But well, as regards to the universe, this is Buckminster Fuller. Sometimes I think we're alone and sometimes I think we're not. Either way, the implications are staggering, right? If we're alone, wow. If we're not, well, where is everybody? Well, they're right here. I have news for you, good news and bad news. You are the ETs you've been waiting for, really. You are the ETs because we are different than all the other animals out there. The animals are great. They live in very present time. They're very present, loving beings. We're a little more complex. We live in the past. We live in the future. We built this civilization that's overrode the earth because we've just been only left brain, progress, domination, control. That's all left brain thinking. We need to become back into the right brain, which connects us back into the cosmos. It connects us back into the dream time. So when I say we're ETs, we are part of the cosmos. We are visiting the earth. We're not just spiritual beings having a human experience, human beings having a spirit. We are cosmic beings having a cosmic experience. That's what we're doing here. We are. And when you meet another person in that spacesuit and you look into their eyes, you are looking into infinity. You know, when they're present, we could do an experiment right now. Find a partner, someone to look, somebody's eyes to look into. Here, just find anybody, and just sit next and look into their eyes for a second. Here, I'll look into your eyes. And there's a moment where you're looking into their eyes. And just try it. Look into their eyes. And there's a moment where thought stops, their thought stops, your thought stops, and a flash of light comes out of their eyes when you stop thinking. There you go. I saw it. You stop thinking. Yes. The moment where they stop and you stop, and there's a flash. Wait. Come on. There it goes. You see it? Do you see a flash of light? That's the cosmos coming online. That's you waking up through these other realities. Thank you. Did anybody see that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you see a flash? Yes? something? Why did you see that? Because they're present, they're alive. If they're not in the present, they're either in the past or the future, and they're thinking, and that's not alive. That's what they call the necromancers. That's why this phone, you know, and all our addictions, I'm addicted to this. I was looking down at the phone one day, and, you know, I'm so used to carrying it in my hand. So I was looking at my phone, texting somebody. I said, "Where's my phone?" And I was looking at the phone. I know it's embarrassing, but, you know, I'm so used to carrying this around. I said, "Where is," and it was right there. I know it's awful, but that's how addicted we are to our stuff. We're here to break out of the addictions. We're here to do something different. We're here to wake up to these new realities. I'll show you a baby picture of myself. This is an old picture of my... No, it's an old joke, but really, we are here, really, humor and imagination. It goes beyond duality, because only God laughs. Only God... What I'm calling God is the transcendent nature of that flash of light you just saw. That's God. You just saw God coming through your partner's eyes. Really, really. That light is the essence of the universe. It's the spark. It's the creation. So what happens when you laugh, this is just a little side thing, is that the old brain, the ways of we used to know things starts to shut off. Here, I'll show you, give you another example of this. Now, this ET says to that ET, "You abducted him, you feed him." All right, that's enough. Or this little kid says to the guy, "Yeah, I didn't believe in reincarnation when I was your age either." So it just goes on and on like that. Or this woman says to her husband, "I'm going to another dimension. You need anything, honey?" So this is from the New Yorker cartoon. So was that E.T. joke. I mean, we are transforming. I mean, our evolution is not this. From apes to some guy sitting at the computer, right? Our evolution is this. It's from, I don't even think we descended from apes. We descended from the great consciousness into these bodies that started to evolve. And we are heading into the light. We are transmuting. This is why this conference is called Portal to Ascension. We are opening this portal to transformation, to cellular biophotonic transformation. That means there's a light essence inside every one of your cells. And when you get to the place that J.J. Hurtak got to in 1973, you can leave the planet with the body, with this physical body. That, for me, is ascension. Anything else, well, it's close, but it's not ascension, and according to me. Ascension is the ability to own the human experience. That means you could look at everyone, if they're in the past or future, and see, oh, I've been those things. When they're in the present, they're infinite. But when they're in their ordinary state, you can see, if you can tell what emotion they're feeling, and we can all tell what people are feeling because we can mirror their facial structures and we can feel what they feel. When you look at everyone and you say, I've been that, then you've owned the human experience. We're here to own everything. It doesn't mean you have to do everything. It means you have to have felt everything. All the anger and emotion and dramas, all that. This is time for completing those old human dramas. I mean, this is your last chance for drama, last chance for suffering, okay? That was the name of JJ's book, The End of Suffering. This is your last chance to suffer, because where we're going from here, you can suffer. You can choose to suffer. Or you can choose to live in the joy and bliss that we are originally incarnated to be. We're here to experience joy and bliss, absolutely. And most people only get like a moment taste of it. But imagine if your whole life was full of joy and bliss. Doesn't mean there aren't problems. Doesn't mean like, you know, this person doesn't upset you. But in the moment, you feel all those experiences and you can move beyond it. So we're here to redefine the nature of experience. That's what I think we're here to do. Redefine the nature of experience. And that happens through redefining words. We're here, chaos to cosmos. You know, you look out there and what culture does, acculturation, it refines the world, saying, oh, that's a chair, that's a floor, that's a person, that's culture. Culture defines, makes the chaos into a cosmos. Cosmos means design. But we can let go of culture. We can slip back into the chaos. We can go from comprehension to apprehension. When you comprehend something, it means this is how things are. But when you apprehend it, like in remote viewing, it means you're starting to get a glimpse of all these other abstract connections. We go from cognition to recognition, or recognition to cognition. You know the difference between recognition and cognition? When you recognize something, you have to recognize it, so you have to see it again. But how do you cognize anything? How do you know anything, right? Someone told you, that's a table, this is a floor, and we repeat it. But when you see something for the first time, if you don't recognize it, how do you know what it is? Like, for instance, if no one told you, this looks like a horse, right? You see the horse? If no one told you that was a horse, it would just look like an island, right? So it's not an island. I mean, it's an island, but it looks like a horse's head. But if you didn't have the cognitive associations, it would be just what it looks like, an island. So what I'm saying is, right in this space, because no one has told you to cognize it, there are ETs, there are orbs, there are interdimensional beings right here, right now, but no one has told us to see that. And I had a demonstration of that, but I don't know if I'll show that. Should I show that? I'll continue and then I'll see. It was a cognitive experiment. So our job here is to be humble because we're made of the earth, and be noble because we're made of the stars. And the voyage of discovery is not in seeking new lands, but it's having new eyes, new abilities to perceive reality just as it is, just as it's not. You know, because consciousness is not in the brain. It's like looking inside a radio for the announcer, right? Consciousness is what the brain is picking up. It's receiving it, and you have a particular frequency of consciousness that goes lifetime after lifetime. It's like your phone, you know? If your phone breaks, it doesn't mean people can stop calling you. It means, you know, you get a new phone, you pick up those calls that were in the cloud somewhere. Well, if the body breaks or something, you can reincarnate in a new body and pick up those same memories if your memory hasn't been wiped clean, but it never really is, because the soul, which is right here behind the heart, contains all your lifetimes that we have since the beginning of creation. We are the spark of creation, which you just witnessed when you looked into that person's eyes. You saw the spark of creation. That stays with you. The memories stay with you in the soul as an emotional experience. It stays with you. So every lifetime you've ever had is recorded on your cell phone, I mean in your soul, as an emotional memory of what you experienced. So when you own the human experience, it means you've owned not just this lifetime, but all the lifetimes as a human being, and maybe all the emotional possibilities you've had as a fourth dimensional being. I call us fourth dimensional being. And then we start to graduate. You know, I love this quote. I'm certain that after the deaths of centuries have passed over the cities, we too will be remembered, not for our victories or defeats in battles or politics, but for our contribution to the human spirit. That's it. That's why we've incarnated. That is what makes known the unknown, is how do we contribute to the evolution of human consciousness? Who are we really that can contribute to the evolution of consciousness? And what's happening now is that we're at a crossroads, and what's pushing the crossroads is environmental desecration, really, if you want to call it that, and the coming of the ETs. You know, we're at the brink of the sixth mass distinction. We have to do something, and hopefully that will wake us up to the fact that we're the caretakers of the earth. This is what the Aborigines say. We're visiting the earth. You're in those earth bodies, and you know, the earth is extending, it's an extension of those earth bodies. It doesn't stop with the skin. It goes on to the earth. So we have to take care of the earth, and hopefully that will wake some of us up. And the coming of the ET factor, the coming of the fact that we're not alone, also will wake us up to these cosmic realities. I love this quote by Terence McKenna. You know Terence McKenna? He says, we're part of a symbiotic relationship with something which disguises itself as extraterrestrial as not to alarm us. Alarm us, it's a joke. You know, if we knew what was really going on, we really would freak out, because ETs are, they're beyond what we can know. Even though we are these ETs, our cultural conditioning is so heavy that it makes us think we're human beings. And we're not just human beings. We're these other beings. So these are the levels of transformation: personal, cultural, global, on the Earth Center, solar, galactic, and cosmos. But I think we only have time to concentrate on like these three here. These, let me see, these here, these three. The sacred geometry of the personal reality, a cultural reality, and a cosmic reality. So like I said, most of us are here, right? Where this is a crossing for pedestrians. Look, yeah, this is, I think this is really out there. Watch for pedestrians not watching. You know, these are what they call necromancers. These addictions that keep us disconnected from the present. If you're in the present, you're definitely not looking at your cell phone. You're looking all around you at the wonder that this world is. It is really, really magical. But the reason most people are looking at their cell phones or having whatever addictive form they're having is because they think who they are is their story. I love this cartoon, I think it's in your book, JJ, where the guy is yelling at the bartender and says, "Hey pal, you have no idea who I think I am." Well, that's our problem. You think you're your story. I'm this person, I have this history, my mother did this, I grew up here. That's not who you are. That is a very limited, cut-out version, flat version of this incredible being that's sitting here in these chairs. If you think you're your story, you have a lot of problems that you should talk to somebody about. I mean, you are your story. I'm not saying you're not your story, but you're really not your story. You're bigger than your story. The story is just the label of some experiences that you have, that you remember, that you think is you. Everyone wants to hold on to their story, but their story, it's a fabrication. You know, your story will change as you grow older, as you go on. I mean, what you thought happened. So you're not your story. It's a vague memory of what you think happened. Who you are is what you are right now. And, you know, we identify with our emotions. Like I said, you have to, like, look at people and know what they're feeling. And you get out of your story, like, everybody knows what this woman's feeling. You know how you know what she's feeling? Because you have felt that. You have felt those same emotions, whatever those are, you know, sadness, despair. We can identify it. You can look at everyone and feel it. So that's part of the identification of the emotional realities. But we've also been programmed, you know, by our culture. So you think you're a story, that's the first level of programming. You're not your story. The culture also programs us to think, this is a chair, that's a table, there are no ETs in this room because you can't see them because they can't be here. But, you know, the media also programs us like this. This was a Life magazine ad for Coca-Cola that people believed and says, how soon is too soon to start feeding your baby cola? It's never too soon, because it says basically here, the sooner you feed your baby Coca-Cola, the easier it will be for them to fit into society, because you're training them. This was put out by the Soda Pop Board of America. So this is official, right? This is another, and this one is another one. sugar is your apostat. This was also from the 1960s. The more sugar you eat, the less hungry you'll get. This was in Life magazine. Sugar can help you switch off your apostat, you know? So if you eat as much sugar and you'll eat less food, that's a perfect solution, right? Well, I'm glad you're laughing because it shows us how far we've evolved since these ads were put out. But people believe this. You know, this was in a magazine. It was put out, I think it was put out by the Apostat Society of America, so it sounded official. This is our cultural programming. So what are we getting today on our television, on our internet, that we think, oh, it's news, but it's really not news? Same level, different ads, different news, but the same conditioning that we just take as fact. I have to show you this other one too. More doctors smoke Camel cigarettes than any other cigarette, right? What doctor would say that now? So we've evolved, but we really haven't evolved that far because we're still getting overridden with commercials that are telling us something. They're telling us, you know, buy this, don't do that. You know, I love those commercials where they say if you take this medication, all these side effects will happen. Well, what are you taking the medication for? Really, it's like scary. Who would want those side effects from the medication? So we have to do something differently. We really have to wake up. I love what Nikola Tesla says. The genius of invention which will reveal tomorrow, the secret of our immortality, of eternal youth, which all humanity is aching for, the same inexhaustible agents which prevent the masses from changing suddenly its velocity would likewise resist the force of new knowledge until the time gradually comes to modify thought. Meaning that people have a hard time changing what they believe to be true, you know. But so if someone says that here's the miracle of existence and all you have to do is be present, then, you know, no, I'd rather watch my television or look at my iPhone. That's too easy and too simple. I don't think we're ready for that. So we are really here to wake up to some new realities. And I think this is the way we do it. Let's see, I got it right here. Okay, got that. Here we go. So, we're waking up to these realities where near-death experiences, out-of-bodies, UFOs, past life, energetic healing, telepathic communication, remote viewing, and consciously creating your reality and being the collective awareness of an interpersonal connection. Right now, everyone in this room is part of a group mind. We really are. We're individual, but we're also collective. Let's do a little thought experiment where I can demonstrate it for you. And this is about waking up the finer senses. We have these subtle senses that no one has told us about, like these psychic awarenesses. So just close your eyes for a second, and let's see if we can feel this. Okay. Now everybody put your attention at the bottom of your feet. Now, if you're aware, you feel like you just dropped to the bottom of... Does everyone feel that dropping? Okay. Now, put your attention at the center of your heart there. Right? Now, open the heart. Open, open, open. Feel that opening. Feel that beaming of light. Feel that expansion of consciousness. Breathe that in. Okay. Now put your attention on the top of your head. Now put your attention on the ceiling of this room. Good. You feel the whole place is lifted. Now put your attention out towards the sun right now. Good. You can feel that. Now, half open your eyes. Halfway. See if you're halfway open, how this world has shifted, how this reality is different than what it was. moving into something. Right there. Yes. Okay. Now come back. You can see that something, okay, with the half open eyes, you see that there's a frequency shift there. You see that we're moving it. Okay, open your eyes. Now just remember that space, though. We shifted reality by moving our consciousness outside of our brain, outside of our body. Did you feel it when we're all on the ceiling? Did you feel like a lifting up? These are the subtle energies that we have available to us in our powers. I know we can all become this being here. Like, you have to be in this state of consciousness in order to create that model of reality, that inner sense. You have to be there to create it. This is why you can't learn how to ride a bicycle until someone who's ridden a bicycle can show you how to ride a bicycle. You have to have someone who's already been initiated and showing you what the procedure is in order to ride a bicycle. Try it. Ask someone to teach someone how to ride a bicycle who hasn't ridden a bicycle. You have to have that initiation. What we want to do is initiate the frequencies of our bodies to a higher activity. We want to vibrate in a more accelerated rate. That's what we're here to do. So we have to give up the old ways of looking. We have to awaken to our multidimensionality. This is what we are. So what we just did, as you put your attention on top of the ceiling, it's a very simple exercise. I know but you're in your body, but your consciousness is also out of your body, right? So you're in two places. That's multidimensionality. That really is. So now is a time of knowledge where so we can allow this new beingness to enter us. We have this new sense of being. We have to drop out of these three. You're not five senses, or five senses are hearing, sight, smell, touch, taste. That's what they tell you are. But some people say, no, we're our emotional body. Your addiction, your history, your story. That's what I call the fourth dimension. The fifth dimension is these subtle movements of energy and awareness that you can project onto someone. That's how healing happens. That's how healing at a distance happens. That's like, you can project right out of your third eye a new consciousness. This is not who you are. You're not, this is part of it. This is who your body is, and this is what your emotions are. But if you think you're your emotion, then you think you're your story, and this is your destiny, This work, buy, consume, die. This is what people come to Earth for. No, you are these incredible beings having all these experiences. This is what we come in with, and this is what we're taught. We have this vast imagination, this vast connection to the cosmos, but at 4 or 5 years old, you're taught ABC 1, 2, 3 because that programs you. That keeps you in the culture. And if you start to think differently, then you're cast out of society like this. This is a story of this visitor. This was from this Dutch ambassador went to the King of Siam, basically, and he said, "The water gets so cold in my country that an elephant can walk across it." The King of Siam says, "I believe the strange things you've told me because I looked upon you as a sober, fair man. Now I'm sure you're a liar." Because it wasn't in that reality, For instance, another example is when Galileo pointed the telescope at the heavens. He didn't develop the telescope. It was a spyglass. He looked at enemies in the distance. You could spy and see how they were doing. But he was the first to point it at the stars. Everyone says, "Why are you doing that?" Everyone knows what's up there, and plus that's God's bedroom, and he doesn't want you looking in on him. But he said he did it anyway, and he discovered, the rings of Saturn, the moons of Jupiter. He discovered what was always there, but we didn't know about because he did something different. Now, Robert Fulton invented the combustion engine. Actually the Greeks knew about it, but he said if you burn turn wood, you can propel a ship forward on water. That's where today's cars come from. Instead of burning water for steam, they burn, oil, gas for propulsion. That's what we're doing today. So when he went to Napoleon, said, I have a steam engine. Napoleon said, what, you'd have me sail against the winds by lighting a bonfire under my decks? I pray, excuse me, I have no time for such nonsense, So basically, we're not here to embrace the new because we're always looking towards the past of what we know. I mean, there's lots of examples. When Alexander Graham Bell went to London and he said, because the telephone wasn't used to have conversation, it was used to mimic the telegraph, which was just to send messages, right? So the first people who telephoned each other would just say, come here, do this. I don't know who invented the conversation, but my mother's eternally grateful for that because you can't get her off the phone. But anyway, so Alexander Graham Bell goes to London. He said, we have a great way to create messages, pass messages. All you have to do is wire the whole city up. And the mayor of London says, that's crazy. We have plenty of messenger boys for that, So people don't understand what the new realities are. Now, in 1903, Scientific America says that the Wright brothers were a pair of hoaxers because they said they flew through the air. And Simon Newcomb, a physicist at the time, said it's impossible for a heavier than air machine to fly. So they just wrote it off. And National Scientific America said if such sensational and tremendously important experiments are being conducted at a not very remote part of the country, is it possible to believe that enterprising American reporters would have not reported it long ago? Meaning, if it wasn't in the newspaper, it can't be true, because if it was true, it must be in the newspaper. It's like they were saying about UFOs. If this is true, why aren't people reporting it? Because it's not being... Anyway, you get it. So why? What is the problem? Why are we so attached to what we know and not what we don't know? Because we've been shown to doubt our minds. Psychology has done us a great service by helping us with our personal problems, but it's done us a great disservice at this point. You're climbing the ladder, you're reaching that rung, it gets you to a certain place, that's what psychology, and then to get to the next rung, you have to let go of where you've been. This is why channeling is coming in. Well, are these people just crazy, channeling these cosmic voices, or having these extraterrestrial experiences, or they are the next rung of cultural civilization, but psychology is saying, no, it's all in your mind. Well, it's not all in your mind. I mean, I met some great people. I met the Harvard psychologist John Mack. Do you know who he is, John Mack? He was a professor of psychiatry at Harvard, and he started to study the abduction phenomena. And he said, these people are not crazy. They are having a real experience, and no one can argue with their experience. I had a picture of me and John Mack somewhere, but I did meet him. No, he was a great scholar, and he was really important for the evolution of our culture. And people like Tesla said, it's possible that to transmit wireless messages so simple that an individual can carry it in his pocket. He said this in 1909. So what visions, what incredible things. Or this, 1938, a time is close at hand where any student in any part of the world will be able to sit with their own projector and their own study and be able at their convenience to examine any book, any document, an exact replica. 1938, he had no idea what he was talking about, but he had a vision of the future. He really had a vision of this future, and he didn't know how this would happen. He didn't know why. Maybe there is something like predestiny where the whole future is already laid out. Or maybe we really are creating it. Or maybe it's both, where we can create the future we want, and it's here waiting for us to be discovered. I think we should do a little exercise where we discover the future. All right, Phil, got my accompaniment, my musical accompaniment here. So what we're going to do is, let me just show you, before we do that, while Phil is setting up, we're going to examine our brains. Now, this is the human brain, this is the dolphin brain. Look how much more developed that is. Dolphins are conscious 24 hours a day. When John Lilly, who I worked for, would study dolphin, he would anesthetize the dolphins and they would drown because they're here to take each breath consciously. So they sleep on the left side of the brain and on the right side of the brain. So the left side, of course, is your logical thinking. It's the only side that Western science thinks really is important. They've ignored the right brain. Your right brain is the connection to the cosmos. Your right brain, it's like the computer. If I told you before the internet that I could get information that wasn't already programmed on this computer, everybody thought you would be crazy. Now, if someone came along and said, no, I'm connected to this thing called the internet, and you didn't know what it is, you would think they were making it up. You were thinking, how can you get information that's not on your computer? Well, your right brain is the internet. It's the inner connection to all time and all space. Like, we know everything about everybody and any time, anywhere, because your right brain is beyond time and space. It really is. It's just right now. It just exists where all time exists. It just exists in the present. And it can access all those other present moments. So we have to get the left brain programming out of the way. So as we do that, as we tap into, do you know the story of Jill Bolte Taylor? You know who she is? She lost part of her right brain. Let me see if I can find. Anyway, she lost part of her left brain. She was pure right brain. And all she could do was be present and tap into the joy of infinity. When you're really present, the universe starts to feed you. And you can tap into anything you want to know, anytime, any place. So we're going to do a little time travel to the future right now, okay? So Phil, and we're going to do a little meditation, because I don't know how much time we actually have. How much time do we have to wrap? Okay, we'll just do 5 minutes. So close your eyes. A little louder. Listen to the music. Let that music take you. Feel yourself in your body. You're in that body right now. Okay. Now take that mind, that behind those eyes, journey. I'm going to descend into the earth, okay? I'm going to descend feet into the earth, into the underground. Deep into that earth. Follow the little, you'll see a little stream deep in the earth there. You'll see, and you're following that stream, and it goes through caves, and it goes into another series of caves, and we're going to keep going down that little stream. We're following it along the path, and down at the end of that stream, there's a little ship there, a little spaceship there. We're going to get in that spaceship. We're going to start that out. We're pressing the start button. It fires up. And where that ship is going to blast off. And the earth is opening. It's opening, and we're traveling past all the inner earths out into the cosmos, into the dark, deep cosmos. And we're seeing a star in the distance. In the distance, we see a star. And their ship moves closer to that star. We're getting closer. It is a blue, green, red planet, different than the one we came from. We enter its atmosphere. As our ship lands, we're greeted by beings. See those beings around you. See their shapes, see their size, see their color. They're greeting you as a visitor from another world. And they're here to give you a message to take back. They come around you, and they're friendly, and they're loving, and they're warm, and they want you to take back this special message to planet Earth, because it's time. The Earthlings have heard this message. One of them comes forward. and they whisper in your ear. They whisper a sacred message for planet Earth, for the people of Earth. And they give you a little gift to take back with you. And they send you on their way with their blessings and hope that you will deliver their promise to this earth. And you rise up through their atmosphere, through the cold of space. And in the distance, you see that blue-green planet glistening in the sun. And you enter its atmosphere, and you descend back with the message and with the gift from these other planetary civilizations. And you send into the earth, descend back to the landing spot that you came. You get out of the craft and you follow the stream back up to the surface, back up to the surface, back into the bottom of your feet, back into this room. Okay. Okay. And you're back in your bodies with the message, with a little gift. And anybody wants to share? Okay. Back into your bodies. Anybody get a message they would like to share? Please.
Peace be with you all.
Right. Thank you. I got something about peace too. Did you get anything?
I got that the light is within us, and it is our gift to give the rest of this world.
Okay.
Message was, we are you.
We are you. Yes, they are us, and they want us to make this time of transition. Dr. Herta.
The time for ascension has come collectively.
Exactly. The time. Did everybody get something? That's your creative imagination, but you're not making this up. This is you tapping into a realm of possibilities that is all around us. We're here to wake up. We are here to ascend the planet. All of us get these messages because it's time for our awakening. It is time for us to have a new, I'm going to show you one, we have to wrap up. We have to introduce my good friend Phil. Okay, I'm just going to show you one picture of, I'm just going to show you, okay, I'm just going to show you one picture of Ascension, so you know what it looks like when you see it, okay? This is my picture, my favorite picture of Ascension is that Alex Gray picture. Do you know the Alex Gray pictures of 2001, yes. Well, I won't show you that, but I'll show you this one. Yes, this is 2001. This is us waking up as a planetary civilization. This is our cosmic unfolding. This is as we ignite the fire of our brain to expand into new realities. This is as we ascend the earth plane to know who we really are. This is our time of true cosmic adulthood. This is what lies beyond is nothing compared to what lies within. You are the awakening.